All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Limitless Mindset podcast. Thanks so much again for joining me today. I'm excited for this one today because this one I feel like is going to add a lot of value for those of you guys that are facing a little bit of uncertainty right now in our times. It's nothing new, right? You guys turn on the news and we could all tell that America's struggling a little bit in economic conditions. You guys hear a lot of talk and a lot of words used that are talking about a recession, a down economy, things aren't going well. You guys hear time after time again, there's companies out there that are shrinking. There's people that are doing big layoffs right now, especially in the mortgage industry. I know on the real estate side of things, there's been some really big companies over the last few months that have done some layoffs as things are getting lean and as less transactions are taking place, and other industries as well. So what I wanted to do was shift your guys' perspective and maybe have you guys approach this from a different mindset to hopefully add some value to some of you guys today that are fearful of what the future looks like, fearful of if you guys are going to have a job, fearful of what things on the, down the road are going to look like for you guys. Because this is something that I tend to not really shy away from. And this is things that I actually get excited for because to me personally, when the economy shrinks and when there's jobs being shifted around, people that are laying off, people that are hiring, the cream always rises to the top, guys. And if you guys focus on that mentality and you make sure that you are the best you can be, you guys are always going to be in demand. Now, let's think about it this way. When you guys see companies and businesses doing layoffs and they're doing shrinkage and they're going lean and they're trying to get rid of the overhead, one of the first things that they're going to do is they're going to cut expenses. They're going to cut people that have high paid salaries that are not adding as much value or in their eyes, for the most part, not generating a solid ROI back into their company. Back when I was younger and I got into management, I worked for a big corporation, and this was my first introduction into the corporate world. And I got to be honest with you guys, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was one of my very first sales jobs. Those of you guys that have heard my backstory, I came from a very blue collar type environment. One of my very first jobs was washing airplanes and pushing gliders around, in the summertime and heat. Then I got a job working out in the melon fields. I used to pick melons and whatnot all through high school. And I did a little bit of welding. I did some underground utilities, doing dirt work and construction. I did a lot of warehousing jobs as well, in and out through high school and stuff. Just a little bit of everything that was very labor intensive and manual labor intensive. And one thing I can tell you guys about that was that those people, especially in the construction industry, that were really good at their job when companies had to go lean, what I had noticed is for example, when you got a big project going on, they would always bring on temporary workers, right? Or they would say, hey, we have this really big project going on. We're going to hire you on to complete this project, whether that be a temp position or, maybe it was a 1 or 2 year project. We're going to hire you on to do this. And then what would happen is when that project was over, the company would get ready to move on to another project. And what I observed from a young age was that when it came time for that project to end, these contractors and construction companies and whatnot, they would tend to let go of the trades or the people that were just okay, right? The people that they did the job, but they weren't going above and beyond. They weren't, anybody that the company really relied on. And then the ones that showed up every day, put in the additional effort, put in the work, those were the ones that typically rose up from the ranks, right? You guys see this happen a lot when you work for a company. You might see people that when they hire from within, the people that usually end up working their way up the ladder, for the most part, are the ones that are putting in the work every day, time in and time out. I could tell you, at least for me, that's how it goes. When somebody comes into one of my companies and my organizations, they might start off in a lower role, but if they can demonstrate that they're reliable, they go above and beyond, they take ambition, they have initiative, they do things without me having to ask them, and they're always constantly trying to move the needle, I can tell you guys wholeheartedly, my biggest goal for those people is to move them up within my company and hire from and promote from within because they do such a good job. One of the biggest things I did too is when I got into sales, I went to work for a really big university. And again, this is where I cut my teeth in leadership and management. And truth be told, guys, I didn't belong in management at that time. I was young, I was arrogant, I had a huge ego. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the first thing about, managing people, leading people, what motivated people, how to develop and turn people into better leaders. I knew none of that. I basically just got my foot in the door because I was really good at my job. But through that process, I learned to be a great leader and a great manager. And I remember when that company started experiencing, and this was a big company, by the way, guys, they were the number 3 largest employer in the state of Arizona. And when things got tough and it came time to, go lean, they were losing profits. There were some new regulations that had come into place. Therefore, it slowed sales down greatly. And so what they had to do, unfortunately, was start cutting overhead. That was one of the toughest things I had to do because I remember being a manager and they had called us into a room, us management team, team and they said, hey, here's the deal. You guys are going to have to let go of these people. Now, the people that were let go of, what the first things I observed was it wasn't necessarily just the people that had been there for a long time, a short time, or anything like that. A lot of people tend to believe that, oh, I've put in 10 or 15 years with this company. I'm good. My job's safe. It's going to be the new people that they let go. That was not true in that company, in that organization. I noticed that the people that had been there the longest, that had racked up a really high salary, but ended up getting complacent in their job and ended up getting complacent in their roles, were actually the people that they were having us cut, just because those people were not actually moving the needle in the business, right? They were kind of floating by, just kind of staying mediocre. You know, they weren't doing a bad job, but they weren't really going above and beyond either. And what I had noticed was some of the newer, younger, hungry employees of that company, the people that maybe only been there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that were there every day, showing up, putting in the work, putting in the big numbers. When that came time for that company to go lean, one of the very first things they did was they let go of the people that had been there for a long time and had kind of leveled out and wasn't going above and beyond. They weren't taking the initiative. They were the ones that had gotten complacent and felt that their jobs were 100% guaranteed, right? Those were the people that ended up, unfortunately, getting let go from that company when it came time to cut things down. And the ones that ended up being able to maintain their jobs and keep going, and actually some of them even got promoted during a downtime because they said, hey, you're absolutely great in your current position. Obviously, you know what we're doing. We're going to promote you up to management so that you can take these other people that are remaining and actually coach them to a higher level as well. So some of those people's careers actually advanced in that down market. So my point in telling you this is right now there's a ton of uncertainty going on in the economy. One of the biggest things I can tell you guys right now is that if you guys focus 100% on making sure you are absolutely valuable within your company and within your organization, 9 times out of 10, you guys are going to have complete job security unless the entire company folds up. Companies do not look to let go of their top employees. Companies do not generally look to let go of the people that are moving the needle in the organization and are putting in the work and are showing up every day. I can tell you wholeheartedly, as someone who runs a few businesses and has been in leadership and management, if we have somebody within our companies that goes above and beyond, and what I mean by above and beyond means not just doing your job function well, but above and beyond is the person that shows up early every day. They're there before everybody else, not because they're told to, it's because they want to, right? They're taking the initiative. They're the people that when they see things taking place within the company, the organization that could be improved and better, they come up with a potential solution and approach management before management actually needs to go to them and say, hey, just a heads up, I'm observing this right now from this level, but I've got some ideas and here's some ways that we can increase profitability and fix things. That right there is a very valuable individual within a company and organization. So as these companies right now in a down economy may be shrinking, right? Same thing in the lending world, could be in the title world, could be in any other industry outside of real estate as well. As the economy goes to shrink, as companies are, letting people go because sales are down and things of that nature, if you guys focus wholeheartedly on becoming one of the key players within that organization, you guys will most likely always have job security. And even if you don't have job security, one of the biggest things is you're going to be highly desirable in the workplace. There's always something I look for right now when I'm looking for a key player within my company, right? Because the truth of the matter is people that have a high skill, highly motivated, highly dedicated to their craft and what it is that they do, those people rarely ever are actually unemployed. That's why when you're looking for somebody, let's say an upper management position within your company, and you're like, man, I really got to bring this person in. Most likely, you're not going to find those people posting for new jobs on like Indeed and Monster.com and things like that, because those people already have jobs. Those people are high in demand. These are people that you generally need to reach out to and say, hey, I know you're working for this company and organization, and I also know you're damn good at what it is that you do. What's it going to take for you to come over here and work for my company? I need you in my organization. What are they offering you and what can I offer you more? And when you guys really start having this honest conversation with yourself and ask yourself, how valuable am I to my company? And this is going to take a little bit of foresight for you and a little bit of truth telling to yourself and a little bit of, internal reflection and being honest, because a lot of people tend to think that, again, because they put in time in a company, they've been there for 3 or 4 years, that they've got it made. I've earned this position. Nobody's entitled and you haven't earned anything. You earn it by every day showing up and being the absolute best you can be. One of the things I've always focused on in being in a lot of the companies that I work for, especially even in my own company today, is being an MVP, most valuable player within your company. Now, the truth of the matter is if you think about it this way and you're that worried about losing your job in a down economy, or you worry about your company shrinking, ask yourself this question: can I be replaced easily? And generally, if you could ask that question, can I be replaced by somebody else very easily? Most likely, you're probably not going to have 100% job security. However, if you're that individual that is literally flying 20, 30, 40% above everybody else every day, you're the one that's showing up early, you're the one that's the first one to the meeting, you're the first person that gets in, rolls their sleeves up when the job needs to be done, takes on a new task, doesn't complain, you're the last person at the end of the day locking up, leaving. Metaphorically, you guys get my point. You guys are going to be the people that's in demand, because it's going to be very hard for a company to say, okay, we're going to let you go and go find somebody else to take your position if you're the person that is actually moving the needle within that company or that organization. A lot of people tend to have more control over this than what they really give themselves credit for, because it's kind of a cumbersome outlook if you're looking at your job and just saying, well, I'm going to sit here like a sitting duck, and hopefully as the economy goes, I'm going to keep my job and maybe they're going to let me go, maybe not, I don't know. But instead, if you focused on, okay, what can I do today to be the absolute best at my job? What can I do today that's going to make me such a valuable employee to this company that if tomorrow maybe they didn't lay me off, but I went to them and I said, hey, you know what? I think it's time for me to leave. I found another opportunity. They're actually going to offer you a raise or see what it's going to take to keep you within that company. That's always the mindset you need to have, because again, guys, don't get so complacent in your company where you feel like just doing the bare minimum is going to get you by, because the truth of the matter is you're going to be replaceable. It's not that hard to find people today in the workforce. And especially think about it this way: if the economy is shrinking and more companies are letting people go, there is going to be more talent out there in the workforce looking for new career opportunities and new changes that you're technically going to need to be competing against. Now, the way you stay ahead of this is making sure you are one of those top tier key employees within your company. So what does that look like? Well, right now, again, if let's say your guys' shift starts at 8 and you're come rolling in at 8:05 or 8:10, you're constantly late, you had to stop and get a coffee on the way in and that delayed you, most likely your job probably won't be secure. If you guys think for a second your company, your organization, when it comes time to do cuts, doesn't notice the people that are taking advantage of the situation, I can promise you guys are wrong. But on the other hand, if you guys think for a second that your company and organization doesn't notice you getting there, showing up a little bit early, being there, even if you don't clock in, I understand some companies have rules where you can't hit, but them pulling into the parking lot and seeing your car there and seeing you ready to start your shift, you always being the first one into the meetings, you never missing key important meetings, missing days, you taking the initiative, you being the person that comes up with a bunch of new ideas and ways that you can see to improve your company, things that you guys can do to make it better. I promise you guys, you're always going to have job security, because when it comes time to cut, they're looking for the people that are moving the needles in their business. They're not going to let their key players go. They're going to trim the fat. They're going to let the people go that they know are replaceable, or they're going to let the people go that they know realistically, if they let that person go, their role is not all that detrimental to their business. They could just shuffle those tasks on to a couple other people in an effort to stay lean. That is not the position that you want to be in. So ask yourself that question right now. If you're fearful, if you're going to have a job, if you're fearful of what's going on in your guys' company, your organization, if they're doing downsizing, ask yourself what you're doing for that company as well. We live in times right now where people think that businesses and companies owe them, and that's just not right, guys. Companies are also there to make a profit, and it can be a win-win, right? If you show up and you give it to your company and organization, most likely they're going to give it to you back. Now, before some of you guys complain and say, my company doesn't care about me, my company doesn't do that, that may be true. I don't know. I have worked for some companies that probably didn't go above and beyond for their employees, but I was always grateful for a job, and I was always grateful for a paycheck, and I was always grateful that when they did layoffs and they had to, shrink down and cut a little bit of overhead, I was never that person that was getting let go of, or, somebody that they would consider not a key player in their business or organization, or not reliable to the point that they felt like they had to let me go. So again, for those of you guys that are struggling with this right now, it is in your guys' control. Now more than ever is the time to shine within your guys' company and organization. Now more than ever is your chance and opportunity to show them why you are a key player. Show them why your role is important. Show them why, if they need to do business cuts within their organization, or they need to do, some financial cuts and things of that nature, or shift things around, show your company why it would not be in their benefit to cut your position and how valuable you actually are to that company. And again, guys, this is going to take a little bit of self-reflection. Don't just tell yourself you're valuable. Ask yourself, put yourself in the shoes of that company owner and look at your role and look at your position. And if the roles were reversed and you had to make a really hard business decision to let people go, would you be one of those people that they had to let go because your salary was what it was and they didn't deem you as somebody that was valuable enough to keep you around? Asking yourself that question every day when I walk in: am I making a difference in this company? Am I moving the needle? Am I considered reliable? Am I considered an innovator? Am I considered somebody that is constantly pushing to grow this business and organization? Am I the first one that's showing up to meetings and to work every day and the last one that's leaving, right? All of these things, guys, if you can turn yourself into being this person, you will have job security in a down economy. And even if that isn't the company for you, I guarantee you there are tons of other companies out there constantly looking for top tier talent with positions and qualities just like that, guys. Hopefully this is helpful for you. As always, I want you guys to get out there and win. I want you guys to develop a positive mindset. Again, I know that the economy overall is kind of cumbersome right now, but I promise you there is also massive opportunity for people to stand out right now. Companies are paying attention, guys. They're watching. They're looking within their company and their organization as times slow down and as budgetary adjustments need to be made. They're looking at the people in their organization right now that are moving those needles and are earning their keep. You guys need to make sure that you are one of those people. And if you're not one of those people, I would suggest that today you start becoming one of those people. Today, if you're the person that's constantly showing up to work late, if you're the person that's sitting on your cell phone behind the desk every day and not doing work, guys, they see it. I promise you that. Don't be, upset if you guys end up losing your job because that's your mentality at work on the clock, right? I've let people go like that myself, that when it came time to do cuts, they would show up late. They would leave early whenever I was gone. They would, be on their cell phone all the time. They would hardly add any value to my business or my organization, to the point where it says, hey, why am I paying this person a salary when they're not really doing anything within my company but wasting time? And they're just showing up to collect a check. They're not here to grow with our organization. They're not here to do any of that. And ultimately, guys, we pay attention as company owners. But I promise you, you guys have a massive opportunity right now. Right now, again, when companies and organizations are paying attention to the bottom line more than ever as the economy shrinks down, it's your chance, guys, to show them how valuable you are within your company and organization. And who knows, you might even get a promotion opportunity above it and beyond if you guys are going out there and actually showing them how valuable you guys are. As always, I hope you guys get out there. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. And for those of you guys that are looking for private coaching, I have a group. It's $50 a month. Absolutely incredible value. Every week we do a live call. If you can't make the live calls, we record it. You can find more information on that at www.blakeclark.com. And we talk about all things business, mindset, personal development, and entrepreneurism. Tons and tons of info I drop in there. I share personal experiences on what goes on behind the scenes. I share the good and the bad of business side, the things that you guys need to know. And I break down some of your guys' businesses as well to kind of show you guys how to be more efficient and operate and make more money. So again, www.blakeclark.com. I hope you guys have an absolutely phenomenal week. Let's get out there, guys. Let's crush it.